there, my friends. Welcome to the Glow Up Method. The Glow Up Method is the place where we discover who we are, the things that we love, the pursuit of living a life that makes us proud. Hi, my name is Natasha, and I am so lucky, blessed, and honored to be here with you today. Hello there. I am so excited to talk to you about today's subject. So for me, like I've said, I've always wanted to be really vulnerable, wanted to share my experiences here with you. Why? Not because I like hearing my voice or I want to share these super intimate and private details for the sake of nothing. Is I'm hoping that these things help you and motivate you, inspire you to see that you are not alone. So much of my life, I really thought that I had to do this life alone, that I needed to be strong and I needed to be stoic and things couldn't hurt me. Or if they did hurt me, they wouldn't break me. And those are great qualities. Honestly, I don't know if I would have been able to make it through some of the situations that have happened to me or to my loved ones around me had I not had that mentality at certain points, or at least part of it. Honestly, I do think I would have cracked and crumbled and hid beneath a rock. But I did have this grit. I did have this determination. I did have to acquire this to survive at a very young age. And like I say, everything happens for a reason. I'm not saying that my mom attempted suicide in front of me, or I was sexually assaulted, or my parents divorced at a very young age, and I essentially became a parent to both my parent and my brother. I'm not saying any of those things were yay, that's why they happened. But the positive parts, the result of those things happening, has made me really strong. Not having a mom in my life on a day-to-day basis really made me have to become this person that could face these women problems and women, hormones without having any support. I was able to do it on my own. Would I have loved to have had additional women in my life on a day-to-day basis that could help guide and nurture and support me through these things? Absolutely. But that wasn't my life. And I learned how to swim or I was going to sink. I had no other choice. And some of the habits that I pulled on were super beneficial to me. Some of them, not so much so. When you feel like you have to do this world alone, you often don't want to rely on the people around you. And that could be your spouse, that could be your partner, that could be your best friend, it could be a sibling, cousin, whoever. You start to find it really hard to trust that someone is going to be there for you, that someone is going to show up, and that you're not this burden. And so I oftentimes kept my feelings, my emotions inside. I wanted peace. I would do anything to not have peace. I, at a young age, have described on here, I even lied to keep the peace. I couldn't stand the discord between my group of friends in seventh grade. And all I wanted to have was this harmony, because at home, my life was disharmonious. It was full of chaos in some ways, right? It didn't have this traditional experience. And my brother and my dad would fight often. And I just tried to be a good girl and stay off the radar. But I really felt alone and unseen and unheard and misunderstood. And so much so that I didn't even understand myself. Even though I was alone in my thoughts, a lot of times it was dwelling on the fact that I was really alone and that no one was there for me until people were. So then my grandma would come, or, sometimes I had some good friends in school, or, I would be open, but I was just trying to hide away most of my life. I didn't bring any attention to myself. I tried to blend in, or not even blend in. I tried to be like a wallflower, where it was just you can't see me. I'm camouflage. I'm like a chameleon. I can adapt. My colors will change. And if you say, oh, I like green, and I'm like, oh, I love green. And then I go to the next person, they're like, I just buys green, but I love purple. Me too. I was so into saying and doing whatever I thought would have people like me, whatever I thought would keep people in my life and not abandon me. Because even if we don't both think green is the best color, at least you're there with me and I'm not alone. And this fear of being alone, even though I was alone a lot of the times, really drove me to abandon myself. And in this abandonment of self, I didn't know any longer how to, number one, recognize what it was I needed, and number two, to articulate those to others. I really thought I needed to do it on my own. And recently I was told a story about how, a friend was suffering in silence, and the other friend, heard about it on the aftermath and said, it's disappointing that you didn't tell me, because I am now a disservice to you. Like, I am in a disservice. You would have listened to me. You would have been there for me. And now you're not allowing me to have that same opportunity to show up for you. And so I get that. But I also don't, because I've been there in the place where it's like, I don't even know what my needs are. I am overwhelmed. I am under knowing of what my experience is, and I don't know what to say or who to say it to. I just know what I feel is very often wrong. And not wrong, but just unpleasant, terrible, scary, frustrating, all of those things. And so I think about it to the time where so often I would act like everything was fine. Everything was good. Our finances are great. My relationship with my husband is lovely. My kids are perfect. This is the illusion I wanted. I forbid anybody from tagging me in a photo on Facebook, because I didn't want any pictures of me from their eyes showing me, in an obese lighting where I am not hidden behind other people or objects to hide me and allow the real virtual world to see who I really was, right? Like, if I'm out at the park with my friends, my kids' friends, or the soccer games or the baseball games, or, watching my daughter cheer, okay, you see me, but that doesn't mean my friends from high school are going to see me, or that kid I went to elementary school and had a crush on see me. Not that they matter, but I was so ashamed of the way I looked, and I was very curated about the way in which I presented myself, even though I wasn't, but I was, at least on my virtual footprint, I was very like, I want to be in control of what information is going out there about me or my kids. And so I say all this. Why was I saying this? I am forgetting why I'm saying this. But I was very particular about my image, and very particular about the way people thought of me, because I wanted them to always see me in a good light. And so when my son had the experience with the brain tumor, people would all the time, what do you need? Do you need financial help? And yes, we did. Chris was taking off work. I was no longer able to help Chris work on the back end. We're taking so much time going to doctor's appointments, meeting with surgeons, MRIs, EEGs, all these other things that you don't even want to know, pharmacies, this thing not working, ER visits, all this stuff, right, is going on. And I really did need financial help. And, I had a friend say, oh my gosh, please let us start a GoFundMe. And I was like, absolutely not. I didn't want the world to see that we were struggling financially. I didn't want the world to see that I didn't have it together. I didn't want the world to think that I was a shit mom because I couldn't, I didn't have a 6-month savings. Shoot, we didn't even have a 6-day savings. We were living on credit cards and trying to make it work, and, borrowing from Paul to pay Peter, and borrowing from whoever to pay Peter back. It was bad. And I didn't want to worry about that on top of worrying about my sons. And they wanted to help, but I declined it because I didn't want the world to know I needed the help. And so in the same time, they were like, well, then what can we do? And I was like, nothing. Well, I don't know. Like, I would start to cry sometimes talking to a friend, like, because I could finally just release, and this is happening, and I'm scared, but I'm always this optimist, right? Like, it's good news, but it's not cancer, it's a tumor, but there's not cancer, and, this thing, but it's this, and I'm always I want to see the brightness in it. And I don't just want to, I really do see the good in every situation. Yes, I get step back, or I just get disappointed, I get frustrated, I get annoyed, but I take a deep breath. And sometimes it's 1 or 2, and sometimes it's not in the moment. Sometimes it's a day or 2 or a week or a year later. And I realized that situation was a gift, that there was beauty in this. And so in my frustration at that time, I didn't have the capacity. I was nowhere as grown and evolved as I am now. And I was just in survival mode, man. It was fight, flight, or freeze. And I was like, oh, goody two shoes, you know, like in front of my son, like, we're going to pray, we're going to do these things. And then those few moments I was alone, which weren't many because he was even sleeping in my bed. And you know, like we were a squad. Like we were inseparable. Like he would go to school just because we were trying to keep things normal, but I was literally sitting in the car the whole day, as far as much as he can go, in case he had a seizure, in case something happened. Like I was on call and ready to roll. Like when you watch a football game and they have like the ambulance there, listen, that was me. I'm like, I'm ready. It's go time. Mom is here. You know, I'm gonna bring a book. I'm gonna sit here and cry, whatever it is I need to do in order to make sure that I'm here for you. And so I love that my friends knew. The fact that I said, I don't know what I need. Like, I know I do. They were like, we've got you. Like, you are not alone. And the fact that they thought, like, here's a worry she's probably worried about all of her kids, but she's probably worrying, you know, and giving all the attention to the sickest one, but she's probably worrying that the other kids are going to be hungry. And what are they eating? Are they just, you know, is she picking up some fast food so that they're ate? Because, you know, she's in the hospital a lot with her brother. And so they set up meal trains. Like meal trains, it's such a simple thing, right? Like we're going to just cook an extra meal for this family. And this small gesture was so big because I had that peace. I had this relief, and I never would have thought, or I would have never asked for, hey, can you guys cook us a dinner? Can you guys give us a gift card and we can go to dinner? I never would have thought about it. And you never understand how simple, something so simple, right? Cooking a meal with your love, with your care, you know, means to somebody else. It was like this exciting thing too, because it was like, you know, we get stuck in our own ruts of what we always cook. So it was so interesting to have a piece of their love. Because everything I make, even though I don't enjoy cooking, I make it with love. I make it as if I was going to eat it, even if I'm not. And so to have their love, to have their healthy foods come into our bodies and into our soul, fed so much more than our bellies. Like it fed, I can still think about it, and it still brings me to tears. How impactful a simple meal is when you're in a situation like that. How impactful it is to just breathe a sigh of relief that one thing has come off your table, and that those siblings who their lives have also been upheavaled, right? It's so easy to focus on the person it's happening to, right? But in some senses, you know, they're getting, you know, professional sports teams are writing, you know, tweeting out things about them, sending them balls. Like they're getting a lot of support. And then you have these siblings over here that you have to have these conversations with that range in age and, you know, where in their prefrontal cortex formulation are they? And how do you say it to them and break it down that, you know, their brother is sick and their mom is going to be giving this brother the bulk of the attention. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be okay, but I don't know. And so how do you tell them without, you know, it's like you don't even want to speak into this world that something possibly could go wrong. But you also need to set this expectation and understand and hear, like they have confusion. They, you know, just want to go back to, you know, making fun of their brother, or, you know, not making fun, but you know what siblings do, their little sibling banters, right? Or, oh, he's so annoying, he didn't do this, he didn't hang up the clothes, or whatever it is. Like you just want to go back to normal, and life is so unnormal. It's so scary and it's so unpredictable, and every second feels like this weight, this heaviness in the room. But yet in a sense, there's also this peace and calm, because there's those moments when you just forget what's happening. You forget what's going on. And this is your new normal. And so what I wanted to say most importantly here is we are not alone. I think of that situation a lot. I think about it from so many different angles. And every time I look at it, I feel like I learned something new. And while I would never wish a brain tumor on my child, please never, right? Because I strongly believe the worst thing a parent can ever experience is bearing a child. Like, that's just not supposed to happen. That's not the way of life goes. And it's just damn near close to watch your child suffer. And now it doesn't have to be a brain tumor. It can literally be a paper cut. The pain is still there, right? I mean, it's different. There's mental health struggles we're all facing. You know, it's a tough time to be a kid, physically, mentally, emotionally. There's so much pressure, so much more. Do more sports, do more of this, do more of that, do more of the school, more blah, 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 blah. We've put so much pressure on our kids. We have so much information coming in, and we still want to be good parents, and we still need to go work, and then we still need to be parents, and it has an effect on our kids. And so while some things are like a brain tumor, they're not in our control, right? The importance of this is to know we're not alone. There are resources. There are people out there who are willing. There are people out there that have chosen to make a career out of helping you or your loved ones. And so while it may not always be obvious, while it may not always feel it, because I can tell you, I felt it all the time. Every minute of every day, I felt like I was alone. I felt that every struggle was mine alone, even if it wasn't. I felt like I needed to find a way. I felt like I couldn't ask for answers. That is wrong. You are not alone. And all I can tell you is this. If no one else is there for you, if you really think that nobody else is there, if you look around and no one else is there, I want to tell you, I'm there. Send me a message. I am here for you. And this community here we're developing together is here for you. We are here to help one another just as much as you are here to help me. You inspire me. You give me energy. You write your comment. You give me a like. You watch my video, even if it's for 10 seconds. That energizes me to come back and energize you. We are this beautiful, symbiotic, harmonious circle together. And so I know what it feels like to be alone. And it's awful. And I want you to know that you can choose to see all the people that are there for you. It may be somebody physical, or it may be somebody virtual, that just like me. And I'm here for you. The community is there for you. You don't have to do this alone. And there's no shame in saying, I'm struggling today. I sit here and tell you I'm struggling. I'm having a tough time. But I also come on here and tell you I'm having a hell of a day. Like, today was a great day. I got to do this dance and I got to do these things. And I share with you the things that light me up. And I'm not saying that's going to mean that you're going to be the next, dance fitness lover like I am. But maybe you will be. But maybe your art, maybe a walk in the park, maybe a conversation you had with somebody. Maybe there is something else that lights you up just like that too. And I want you to know that's beautiful. And it's okay to have days in which you're struggling, and you're not alone. Reach out to your community. We want to take those burdens from you when you're feeling weak. This is the relationship. For so long, I thought life was 50-50. We're team, we're 50-50. I go 50, you go 50. And no, I was so wrong. What it is about is 100% is the total. And some days, like today, I got 95% to give. And that's great, because you may only have 5, and I can carry that other 95% for you. And I promise you, there's going to be a day that I've got 5% or less, and I'm going to rely on you to carry that 95%. That is a teammate. That is meeting you where you are today and meeting me where I am today. And is us working together to be stronger together for united causes. And what are we trying to do? We are trying to improve this world. We are trying to glow up. We are trying to live a life that makes us proud. So I say all this to say, please go out there today. Give yourself a big smile. Give yourself a compliment. Today, my compliment is this. I am so proud of my willingness to show up. I know it's not always easy, and I know creating new habits is really challenging. And I love that if I make a commitment to something, I really do try to follow through and make sure that happens. That makes me feel good. And I feel like it is a way to say thank you to the other person on the other side. I love that I go into these things with an open mind, willing to learn, willing to pick out the parts that apply to me, and then take that information, decipher it, and spin it back out to you so that you too can take the information, let it spin around inside, and decipher it out in the world. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't this a beautiful funnel? How it like comes in and comes out, comes in and comes out, come in and come out. What a beautiful life we live, and what a beautiful time to be living it. So I say all that to say, now I would love for you to go one extra step further and go out there, give somebody else a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. Bye.